This is a story about a traumatic brain injury victim, Laurie Sepulvado, a mother of two, and her husband, Laurie Sepulvado. Laurie was a lifelong professional dancer and a world championship dancer at the time of her life-shattering auto accident, August 21, 1997. Her struggle to recover from her brain injury and numerous physical disabilities are reflected here in her husband's effort to navigate a course through the complex world of healthcare management. Through the words of their friends, Laurie's healthcare providers, and Larry and Laurie themselves, you will get a glimpse into one of our society's most unforgiving and misunderstood tragedies. In the 1960s, 90% of the victims of serious brain injury died. Today, in the 90s, at least half survived. In 1985, Laurie married Laurie Sepulvado, one of her students and a former musician and music writer for Rolling Stone magazine and the Houston Post daily newspaper. In time, they had two children, opened up their own studio in 1988, and began competing on the then upstart national circuit of C&W dance events, collectively known as the UCWDC. In January 1997, at the Disneyland Hotel in Anaheim, California, at the 5th annual UCWDC World Championships, they won the World Championship title in the Champions Division.
Earth is our mother just turning around with her tree.
I just wanted to know what you do, so to speak, backstage right before you go on. You watch other couples. What do you think? What do you do?
Well, he does watch the couples. I feel like he comes back and gives me a narrative on what's going on. I have a harder time watching. So I really just try and stay loose, maybe do a couple of dance steps, and I really focus inward a lot and just try and stay calm and I always say my little God's prayer that I have before I go out.
7 months later, on August 21st, 1997, the life that Laurie Sepulvado had been living for 34 years was changed forever as a result of a devastating auto accident. Traveling with her 18-month-old daughter, Tyler, Laurie was driving 60 miles an hour when she slammed into the rear of a stopped construction vehicle. Though the baby survived unharmed, Laurie sat trapped and unconscious in the family van for an hour and a half on a hot and humid Houston afternoon. Laurie was life-flighted to Herman Hospital located in the largest medical complex in the world, a network of 76 hospitals known as the Texas Medical Center. Laurie Sepulvado was all but dead on arrival. Uncertain of her ability to even survive, a shock trauma emergency room team headed by neurosurgeon Dr. William Gormley struggled 5 hours to save her life and stabilize her vital signs. Laurie was admitted to TIER on December 7, 1997, and spent 4 months there. But even with the best care available, her progress was a struggle. Laurie's brain injury was severe and compounded by the part removal of her right temporal lobe. She spent long stretches in observation before epidural fluid that was retarding her cognition was drained from her brain. A VP shunt was surgically inserted in her brain on a permanent basis to help drain and regulate cranial fluids. Prior to discharge at TIER, another operation was needed to maintain the shunt's ongoing function. After Laurie returned from the World Championships in January 1998, Laurie made her first public appearance following her accident at a local dance event that Larry and Laurie had hosted for many years. There was an outpouring of love from their dance family as any illusions of her professional return to the dance floor were laid to rest. Laurie was transferred to TLC, the Transitional Learning Community in Galveston, Texas, on April 3, 1998. Here, her physical therapies would continue, but the primary focus of her stay would be on relearning daily living skills like dressing, bathing, cooking, and money management. Before the introduction of managed care, an average stay at TLC was approximately 1 year. But that figure had now shrunk to 3 months. Fortunately, Laurie was eligible for the 6-month maximum CRS funding program offered by the Texas Rehabilitation Commission. TLC was one of the first facilities of its kind in the United States and is regarded as one of the finest residential rehabilitation centers in the country. The transitional learning community was created by Robert Moody in 1984 to help his son and other disabled brain injury victims maximize their chances to integrate back into mainstream society. The first opportunity for her national dance peers to see Laurie came 9 months after the accident, when Laurie attended the 8th annual Texas Classic Dance event, hosted by Larry and Laurie in Houston, Texas at the Adams Mark Hotel. May 15th, 16th, and 17th, 1998 was a weekend of closure for many people and the high point in Laurie's recovery. She was paid tribute at the Saturday night dinner show by many of the same people she had performed with and competed against for years. The saving of Laurie Sepulvado's life and her subsequent recovery was blessed by many things. But living in Houston, Texas was the one that worked most in her favor. Emergency medical services, 911, and the Life Flight helicopter medical staff worked flawlessly to transfer her from the scene of the accident. From there, the emergency room facilities at Herman Hospital, the acute rehab at TIER, the residential rehab provided by TLC, and the Texas Rehabilitation Commission's excellent state program, combined to make up one of the top teams in the country when it comes to aggressively addressing the issue of traumatic brain injury. Without them, Laurie Sepulvado would not even be alive today, and at best would be living in a nursing home. As powerful as this team is, it is still not enough to nurture the Laurie Sepulvados of the world through the full-term rehabilitation that is required for a traumatic brain injury. The long-term cost of rehabilitating the severely brain damaged is only available to 5% of those struck down by this, the largest killer of children and young adults in the United States.
Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above, for a moment all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I held everything for a moment. Wasn't I a king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know, I might have changed it all. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. cool.